Digital marketing for HVAC and home service businesses.
Strategies and stories from industry experts to help you succeed.
Welcome, Scott, to the podcast. Scott is of OH, or if you want to say the long acronym, OHPLC. Scott, thanks for coming on today.
Of course.
I'd love to hear about your journey into becoming a builder. Scott is based out of Phoenix, Scottsdale area, and you serve the greater Phoenix area, right? Is that your service area?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we enjoy for specialty projects or like just special projects. We'll venture a little farther for sure. But yeah, mainly on the north side here in the valley, so Phoenix, Scottsdale, PV, that kind of area, Biltmore area, but we also work on the east side as well,
Okay.
from time to time. Yeah.
Like Fountain Hills and
Like
Cave Creek.
yeah, well that too. Yeah, that's more up north.
Yep.
But our travel range is typically like up to a typical travel range is like 40 minutes to an hour
Okay.
from our home base near Sky Harbor. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so we'll travel a decent distance for projects. But yeah, Gilbert, Mesa, Chandler, there's some really beautiful properties in like South Chandler and in Gilbert as well. And you'd be surprised. I mean, as you drive around and you get exposed to these properties and the different cities, every city has some beautiful lots,
Yeah.
There's no cities missing beautiful lots, but I think a lot of the work is majority done Scottsdale, Phoenix, and PV, that kind of
Yeah.
area.
Yep. How'd you get into building, and how long have you been in the industry?
That's a good question. Been in the industry for I have to think about that. Maybe somewhere around 12 to 15 years now. But starting out young, my family on my father's side, they're all engineers. So I was raised, tinkering with things, and
Nice.
working with my hands and getting outside and doing work outside. And that was just kind of like how I was disciplined when I was younger. Was stop, hey, don't hang out inside all day. Computer games started, were big, and I was playing a lot of that, and it was like go outside and work. So just started learning how to do different things. I enjoyed earning a living and working. So progressionally started out with doing landscape work, right? And landscaping, mowing lawns, getting into irrigation systems, how to repair those, and kind of through high school, college, just kept building my route for maintenance. I really enjoyed doing tree work as well. There's a lot of times I climb up in a tree and I'm up there on the branch and I'm cutting this, not safe. I'm cutting the same branch that I'm on, and then afterwards the branch is like
Oh.
teetering back and forth and you're holding on to it. I had nobody there to help me. Like it was just me, trying to make a buck. But yeah, fun journey doing that. And then, I just get bored, and like there came a crossroads in my life where it was like, hey, do you want to be a professional, like an accountant or that kind of professional, like be an accountant or be an engineer or what have you. And I really just don't do well with sitting down and just being taught something. I have to really do
Yeah.
it. I have to get out there and make the mistakes and then learn from them. And but then I learn quick and I remember it and it's just like in my brain and that's the way I learn from doing. So I work a lot, and I was like, you know what? I work harder than all these people. It's like I got good grades. It's just I hated it. Just it was against every fiber of my being. So sometime I was about to get my associates. I had like one more credit I needed, and I just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go hard with this. Having a business thing, and went out and started knocking doors. And I would really do whatever I could. I still have my maintenance route, but I wanted to expand into turf and things of that nature. So just whatever I could get my hands on and learn, right? Like, what's the next easiest thing I can platform into, right? Like, what's the next thing I can get into? And then as you learn more, it kind of leapfrogs into doing this other thing, right? You have mentors, got mentors along the way. So over that 12, 15 years, it's just been learning by doing, you know what I mean? So hard knocks a little bit, but also,
Mm-hmm.
a wise man learns from experience, but a smart man learns from a wise man. So
Yeah.
um, I,
Yes.
so I like to mix both, like I think, and the reason for that
Yeah.
being is, the wise man might tell you something, right? And they're right. And it's in their experience, like I almost like don't like saying this, but like their truth, like in their existence, that wisdom worked for them. And 95% of the time, good wisdom is good. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you should follow. But there's times where like, you get advice and it may not apply to you and they don't know that. And you have a bevy of
Yeah.
experiences throughout your life that, you kind of assess and you go, hey, you know what? That applies to them and that would make sense for, this group of people. But for me,
Yep.
I've got to go try this thing, like
Yeah.
I got to go the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whether you listen to the wise man, or, your mentors or not, I think you're gonna run into challenges for sure. So, but I just love that. I love the challenge. And, so again, started getting into building other things. Eventually I'm doing full landscape builds. We're doing pool installations, pool remodels, and then of course building structures. So, casitas, and haven't built a home yet, but we'd really love to get our hands on one. And I know we do a great job. But that's kind of a little bit of my journey of getting into it. Tons of people along the way, tons of heartbreak, tons of great, amazing times, ups and downs. It's just, but I love that, and that's why I love construction. It's not easy to do. Everybody would
No.
do it if that was the case.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Uh, That is so true.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's
would do
tough.
it if it was easy, and
Hmm.
I think that's the case with building most businesses, but in the construction industry and the home services, it's very competitive. You're either competing on price or competing on quality,
Yeah,
and those are different demographics that
right.
you're marketing
Hmm.
to, and there's a lot of it's similar in a way to our industry with
Hmm.
marketing. It's like
Hmm.
there's a lot of charlatans out there
Right.
that are like you have to like dodge, and so it makes a bad overall like vibe in the industry. People are very
Hmm.
distrusting, so you kind of have to like really come in and like over deliver
Right.
right out the gate before people so people can actually trust you.
Right, for sure. And I have a couple thoughts when you say that, I could touch on just
Yeah, please.
um the charlatan one, and then the trust. And
Yeah.
then also what comes into mind is the marketplace.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, there's kind of an awkward period, I feel like, for people when, you know it's really tough, so there's a marketplace, right? People got to know who you are, right? They got to know that you're
Mhm.
there. You got to get the opportunity. And then once you get the opportunity, it's not just being good at what you do, it's being able to display that
Yeah.
you're capable. And this is where I feel like, in my opinion, because I feel like the charlatan thing can be like a million different things. This
Mhm.
is where I think the the capping, if you will, begins, like,
Mhm.
the lying or the mistruths,
Yep.
is in that. And there's a lot of people out there that are great marketers. They're great at marketing. They're great at putting their name out there. And but when it comes to building, it's just not there. And the process, and when it comes to design and build, there's so many little things. And you could probably build a yard for somebody and they would love it, or like build a home and they would love it. But they don't know all the things that were missed. They don't know all,
Yeah.
like, along the way, right? The meetings that could have been had to improve the project even more so.
Mhm.
And sometimes builders and installers, they don't know, and they don't have the connections. And I think that's where, in the industry, there's a point in time where you're kind of a charlatan in what you do, but being honest, showing up, putting in the effort, realizing where you're weak and making that strong, and building that up is what separates the boys from the men,
Yeah.
or the girls from the women, right?
Yeah.
It's really what kind of shapes the industry is how many of these people are being, that shouldn't be in the industry, are being filtered out, and then are the people who are doing the right thing, growing and getting the business. So there's a lot in that I just think about all the time. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many great companies out there that are like two people, three people, and they do amazing work, but no one knows who they are, and they're not getting the
Yeah.
work, and they don't grow, and they have good morals and ethics, um, and it's just disheartening. You know what I mean? And then there's some people out there that are just great at getting on camera. They're all over
Yeah.
the social media, and they're a marketing company. Who whips into shape whoever is working for them to get it done for them while they kind of just
Mhm.
stay on camera. So, but
Yeah.
but at the same time you have to make a presence. You know what I mean? So it's there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
I would say is what I'm getting at here. You can't just be you're a great builder and you're ethical, and you've got to be amazing at everything to really break through.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, the marketplace and how it all operates.
Yeah, and the marketplace has definitely been. I've perceived it as more competitive, and then the people that
Right.
we've been bringing on into our agency have it's definitely lent to that. And then some of the even the new updates with Google starting to index social media for SEO purposes, that has been present. So it's
Hmm.
really a lot of people who haven't been on social media or had like an online presence in the past are finally
Hmm.
feeling the pressure of like, oh damn, like we got
Yeah.
to get it going because the consumers are buying in a different pattern now. Like obviously word of mouth and referrals are still the best, right? But now people are wanting a little bit of education backed up by the referral. They want to look
Right.
you up. They want to see what you got online. They want to see your face. And,
Hmm.
especially when they're doing things like building a casita or, it's a big investment. So, what is, and I know you and Jack have both
Hmm.
started with that, and that's awesome.
Hmm.
What's your guys' favorite project to do? I know you said you want to do a house and that's in the future, but like as what you guys have done in the past, what is your favorite
Hmm.
type of project?
Our favorite type of project would include like a casita, ideally, and a beautiful pool, like with all the bells and whistles, and
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful landscape. I like lush. If the client is, there's a lot of solutions you can have for, people worry about maintenance a lot here in Arizona, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. But yeah, I think an ideal project for us would be ideally touching everything on a single property is
Mm-hmm.
a simple way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that every time it comes on our plate, we get excited because it gives us an opportunity where we can focus our efforts into a singular location,
Mm-hmm.
and really provide that service. And instead of being spread out, like all over the place and trying to give this level of service to more people. Um, but I mean, that's doable too, but it's just nice to be able to just sit at one place and look at all the intricacies of one property, and
Yeah.
and really service a client, you know what I mean? So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that we enjoy to do is everything all on one property is what we like to do.
Love that. I
Hmm.
wish every uh I wish every property in Arizona had a casita. I grew up here and I was born and raised in Phoenix, and like
Hmm.
whenever I see a casita on someone's property, I don't know why I just get stoked because I'm like I think about like,
I could
you
live in
know,
that, like.
yeah, I'm like I could live in that. Like
Hmm.
that's great for aging parents or grandparents. It's
Right.
great for having guests. Like we love to have guests. It's great for an office. I mean, I just think that every like in Arizona it's a casita and then in Hawaii it's an ohana, and I love the concept of having like some
Yeah.
type of what is it ADU on
Right.
the property.
Hmm.
Speaking of that, I know California just had some updates on their ADU laws. Did Arizona have anything of the sort? Do you know?
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. So on that subject,
Yeah.
as home prices rise, right, and
Mhm.
populations become more dense, but um, and I think one is the fact um, is an outcome of the other, but yeah, as populations rise and home prices go up, right, population density occurs. Yes, you're going to get the people are going to want apartments or what have you. But yes, California and Arizona have both continually over time. I think Arizona passed theirs a few years ago, but basically just loosening some of the permitting for ADUs. I think there may be some. It'd be cool if we could like post that article on here too. But there's
Totally.
tons of
Yeah.
articles on it. But I think there's also maybe some tax benefits or something. But I think the focus was on the permitting of it and laxing those rules,
Mhm.
like the lot coverages and the setback rules, and
Mhm.
making it so properties can have more roof coverage on their lot. So
Yeah.
typically, when you get a property, depending on what city you're in, what uh, area, you're looking at, or what district is the word I was looking for. They have a certain amount of roof coverage that you can have, right, on the lot,
Mhm.
and that
Yep.
includes like patio covers. That includes anything with a roof for the most part,
Mhm.
unless it's a non permanent structure
Mhm.
that's like maybe bolted into the ground. But so you can't build anything additional. So what these laws are doing is they're allowing you to use more of your property. They're allowing you to scoot that casita or ADU or additional structure closer to the wall and utilize more of your property for living space. So and the only reason they have those laws, there's tons of reasons why they have those laws in the first place. But obviously, urban heating, aesthetics. Like when you're flying, imagine if you just flew over Phoenix and it was all just roofs.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it would kind of look like a prison. You know what I mean? Not a place to live. So the
Yep.
the government and the city does what they do to preserve land and also
Yep.
leave room for trees and for things of that nature. So they're kind of doing that as like a microcosm, like on your property. They're trying to make sure you have
Yeah.
room for landscape, for plants and trees.
Yeah.
But these laws are just kind of loosening up a little bit so you can add that additional living space.
It's funny you said flying over Phoenix because my dad's actually a helicopter pilot
Oh, cool.
out of Scottsdale Airport, and
Nice.
so he's the red helicopter that flies around. I
I
don't know if
think
you've
I've seen
seen it.
them. I think I've seen
Yeah,
them before.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
and but yeah, it would be looking kind of crazy if that was the
Yeah.
case. And I think one of the advantages of living in Arizona is you have more space. It's not as like crammed as some of the
Hmm.
other cities, especially if you go more east in the cities. Like my husband is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and
Hmm.
unless you're out in the suburbs, like if you're in the city, like houses are really close
Yeah.
together, and um, not everyone loves that. Like I again, I grew up here, so I do like to have a
We're
little bit more space. You
right.
know.
We are
Um,
suburbia on steroids. I mean, it's
yeah.
it's very flat. We don't build up. I mean, we're doing it more now, but we don't build up a
Yep.
lot. We have a lot of land
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like as you
No,
fly
you're good.
over, you'll if you're in an airplane, take a look out the window. If you're I don't know which direction, but any direction you're flying out of, look at the valley. And once you get to a certain
Mhm.
altitude where you can see 50% of the valley, 80% of it, and you have clear skies, you can see down. Look at it, and
Mhm.
you'll notice, I don't know the exact percentage, but almost half of the valley is reservations. So
Mhm.
we don't even use all the like it's
Yeah.
reservations. Like there is a lot of reservation land.
Yep.
And part of what you see Arizona doing is we still want to keep growing out, like we want to keep sprawling out, like you said. We're not building up. We're
Mhm.
kind of just like stretch it out more, and we got these wonderful highways. Um,
Mhm.
but what the government keeps doing here in Arizona is they keep making bids to purchase land from I think it's the Navajo, but the
Mhm.
tribes, there's other tribes, right? But
Mhm.
they want to keep purchasing land from the tribes, and they always try to work up some deal to add a freeway or to buy up some more land for more housing. I think they're pretty stiff on housing land, but for freeways, there's a big negotiations that go down. Like for
Mm.
the 202 expansion, that was like a big deal. A lot of money was paid to the tribes for that. So but we have a lot of space still, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
There's on the West in general. I've been to Europe and it's dense, dense, dense. Like you think there's no new real estate. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
if you come to America, it's just like open. Like it's a total paradigm shift. You realize how blessed we are.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, Arizona especially. And we got the grid
Yeah.
pattern driving. So in the East Coast, you if you notice, you got more windy roads,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like you're kind of winding up and down and
Oh
going
yeah.
there's loop-de-loops, and that's because a lot of those roads were
Yeah.
built in the early years of the country, and we
Yep.
didn't have cars. It was
Mhm.
wagons and what have you, and these are like kind of more ancient roads, like not ancient,
Yeah.
but historical roads. And then
Mhm.
here on the west side, we're a grid pattern. So because it's
Yeah.
all modern, it's all built recently. So we can
Yep.
be sprawled out, is what I'm saying. They all kind of fit in with each other, so we can be more stretched out because we have the grid pattern system. It's a lot easier and more efficient.
I think it is too.
Mhm.
And when I was explaining to my husband on driving in Arizona, I was like, it's a grid. I was like, east is streets, west is avenues. And then I had to
Mhm.
go through like the whole, thing. But in Pittsburgh, it is exactly like you said. It's all windy. I was like,
Yep.
what is going on here? I'm not used to this. But I mean, now I can do it, but it's very difficult to navigate without GPS for sure
Mhm.
there. Um, what is your team philosophy?
Love what you do and be always interested in. If you love what you do, the next thing that's going to happen is you're gonna love learning new things and wanting to learn
Mm-hmm.
new things, like being hungry for knowledge. And I think
Yep.
that's something that's lacking. Like, yes, you can have a business, but if your team is comprised of individuals who want to know how to do things correctly, or all the different ways to execute something,
Mm-hmm.
or just to learn something new in general, just to know,
Mm-hmm.
that's so love for the business and what we do, the trade, building in general, and that can go from the high level all the way down to like figuring out how to build this engineered, whatever we're trying to build. But so the love for what you do, and then a passion to learn constantly. So
Yeah.
that's it. It's really simple. And for our clients, what that means is our hearts are in the projects, and we really want to produce the best product for them, which sometimes isn't conducive to us working like less. It's more work to try harder to
Yeah.
give the client additional options, right, for things up front,
Yeah.
or during the process, ideally up front, and that's the planning phase. That's like what Jack's doing, and he's amazing at that. He's remarkable, and that's why we do so well together. But yeah, I mean, I would say it's a love for what you do and the eagerness to learn.
Amazing. Can you talk more about like your role, Jack's role, and the rest of your
Mhm.
guys' team?
Sure. Um,
Cool.
Yeah, so we have so Jack's our principal designer,
Mm-hmm.
um, and design director. He wears he has some other hats too, He
Uh-huh.
likes he's really a entrepreneur in the company, He's
Mm-hmm.
um, always pushing the boundaries, trying to improve this, trying to get that going. He's big on social media. I am too. I just
Mm-hmm.
haven't really shown it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is being on this podcast, kind of part of us, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
popping our heads out of the turtle shell, like, hey, what's
Yep.
up?
Yep.
So yeah, Jack definitely wanted me to get on here, so he's pushing the boundaries there. So
Yep.
Jack's kind of jack of all trades, no pun intended, but he does a lot of stuff. But he's a principal designer. My job is estimating, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I do everything. I'm the CEO. I'm doing this. I might be doing a design if Jack needs some help because I am
Mm-hmm.
very good at design. Not as good as Jack, but and he's much more proficient with the software as well. But I learned from him,
Mm-hmm.
and I've become a better designer because of it. But so designing, bidding, checking on our client intake, new clients that we have. How we're doing getting things out, permitting, checking on permitting processes. I'm just the check-in guy. I just check in on
Mm-hmm.
everything, and then of course business development. So I'm doing a little bit of everything as well. So and Oscar is our project manager, and Oscar is a fantastic PM. So he started out as a landscape and pool builder,
Mm-hmm.
and then transitioned to working for a few companies, and then now he's with us, and I'm very blessed to have him. He has a big heart. As a project manager, you got to stay calm and cool
Yep.
because things are being thrown at you. A lot of times they're thrown at you in waves. So
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, you might wake up and right around like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., everything just hits you, right? Like, we need this, we need that. where is this person, and it's like,
Yep.
you just need to just like, and just start plugging away at it. And a lot of times what people might think is like a huge problem, it's not, but it's having uh, that demeanor, right? So Oscar's very
Mhm.
knowledgeable. He's got a great demeanor, and he's our PM. And then we have Miguel in the office, who's our coordinator, also does some estimating work as well, and permitting and drafting alongside that. And that's our that's our team. So for the most part, so we're looking to add members to our team, of course. We're trying to grow it. And then we have some other outside members, that work with us that are part of the team,
Mhm.
just not quite in-house, but
Mhm.
we also have our crew. So Fran is our construction superintendent. Um, so when we get for instance, someone might want to remodel a living, what do they call it? Uh, a sustainable living facility, right? They want to, redo it, and we bidded it out and stuff. Once we sell the project, it's Fran. Just park Fran there. He's going to take care of it, obviously with Oscar overseeing. But so he's our general construction guy. So even if we're building a casita, yes, put Fran on the job. And then we have Napo, who's our crew lead. Napo is very proficient with tile work and masonry work. And he can turn out like if you give him a rookie, someone who hasn't done any of this work before, and in 6 months to a year, they'll be a pro if they
That's
work with him.
amazing.
Yeah, so he's phenomenal. And then we have Eric, who's another one of our superintendents, but he's he took a small opportunity out of town to work on like a prevailing wage job or something like his family. I don't know, but he'll be back in a few months. He like live in a trailer type thing. Like
Yeah.
you're drilling holes for um, like internet lines, So that's all. He just sits there and stares at this computer. But they're paying him really good, and it's his family, so he's like, I want
Yep.
to try it, I'm like, okay, go, man, you come back, So
Yep.
he'll be back in a little bit. But that's our team, and that's our base right there.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
You had mentioned wanting to expand your team, so I'd love to hear
Hmm.
about who you're looking for to expand your team, and then
Hmm.
I'd also love to hear about your vision for the future for the company.
Oh, awesome. So I'll start with the vision. The vision is to be um, there would be different divisions of the business, right? So we have our very, very custom side of the business, and custom sometimes is like, what is custom, right? Every job technically is extremely custom, but
Mhm.
because it all gets engineering, right? But um, custom as in unique, in some regard. But there's our custom side of the business, which would be probably residential, large commercial, like working for hotels. We'd love to get our hands on a Marriott or the Biltmore or
Mhm.
something like that. Expand into our maintenance division to support our custom builds, right? So landscape maintenance at the very least. But yeah, so our custom side of the business, and that's design and build, right? And then there's the other side of the business that we would like to grow, which is the commercial side, right? So my ideal end result would be where they kind of collide, and we're doing large custom commercial and large residential. That's where I want to be at, right? And I want us to
Mhm.
be deployed like Navy SEALs. Like I want it to be like we got a small team, but we're working on the best, biggest, most beautiful projects there is, right?
Mhm.
So and wanting to achieve that, we have to really break through into the marketplace as um, a trusted, highly skilled installer, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we need to be on TikTok like making videos all the time, but just the people who need to know that we're the best,
Mhm.
and working on those larger, more detailed projects would be our goal. So if I could only have 4 projects a year or less, I would do that all day long. I would love that because a lot of these larger projects incorporate every phase of construction. There's landscape,
Mhm.
there's pools and spas, there's structural work, there's flat work. I mean, there's everything. So that would be my goal for the business would be to move up into that upper echelon. And to do
Mhm.
that, we have to build we have to have a really strong in-house design team, um, and that's to attract more of our custom customers, of course. Keeping that
Mhm.
design process in-house really helps the build team execute, and it's
Mhm.
a much better service for our clients. And
Yeah.
And then of course just our management team. And the thing that's the most important is the crews, building the best crews.
Yep.
So when I mentioned Napo and Fran and Eric, that's part of that. So and then all of them loving what they do and wanting to be the best and wanting to know more, be hungry to learn.
Mhm.
So that's how all that kind of goes together, But the byproduct of that and hard work over time is you got to stay in the game, keep building up the business, and we'll get there. So I'm aiming for like somewhere between 5 to 10 years to kind of hit that mark,
Mhm.
and be a fairly sized. Don't need to be the biggest, but I just want to feel like the projects that we're touching are special, and it's special because we're there, and we're there because the project's special.
Mhm. Love that. I don't usually ask this to designers
Hmm.
or or GCs on the podcast, but I am curious. What do your casita builds range from in price for design
Um,
build?
it depends, because so I could give the full range. You can build a casita for, it's going to be very bare bones though. You can build one for less, but typically I would say they're in like the 350 all the way up to 800 a square foot range.
Mhm.
But you could technically build a casita or a living space for maybe 250. Um,
Mhm.
it's just you're not going to have a lot of windows. You're not going to have big, beautiful sliding doors. So for what people think of when they think of a casita, like I feel like
Mhm.
our clients when they think of a casita, they're going to be in that um, 350 to 800 range, a square foot for
Okay.
sure. And that's a
Mhm.
huge range because of the types of windows and doors that we use, um, the type of roof that we're doing, right?
Mhm.
The finish on the facade on the home, and then the interior, all the equipment um, and flooring that we choose, and the finish work in there. So all of these
Mhm.
things affect price. If you just think of it like if you know something is, uh, let's just say something's $10 a square foot, right? I'm
Mhm.
not a big square foot price guy. We price things out for everything that's included with it, but it helps people understand. So if you have something that's $10 a square foot, like let's just say the slab, right? Let's just say that's $25 a square foot to get done, right? And
Mhm.
then on top of that, you have flooring, right? That's $15 a square foot. Then on top of that, you have a roof, right? That's
Mhm.
40, $50 a square foot, right? Or more.
Yeah.
And then you add doors and windows and you average that out across a square foot. You can see how you get to a 350 to 800 a square foot number. It's because
Yeah.
all those things are being stacked on each other.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
opposed to like landscape work or flat work where it's just that one thing that you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Awesome. So you guys are more on like I would say probably like more luxury, high end type of
100%,
casitas. Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, our goal is to work on large, detailed custom projects.
Yep.
Where do you start? You start with larger than what you're doing now, custom detailed projects. So always,
Yeah.
getting a little bit, moving up the ladder a little bit more.
Mhm.
But big, the size of the build doesn't necessarily mean more detail. So
Yeah.
you could have an 800 square foot casita that's got more detail than you can imagine, and it's a remarkable project. So we're just
Yeah.
trying to move more on that, more custom and larger.
Yeah. And you can definitely tell, like, when you walk into a casita that has had a lot of intentional design versus one that's just kind of like thrown up some walls and some flooring and
Yeah,
called it a day. You know,
100%.
it's, yeah.
Night and day.
So, yeah, for sure.
One is a living space, the other one's a box.
Yeah, yeah,
You
totally.
can you can add some fake plants to it, some countertops and whatnot, and it kind of, it's a living space, but
Mhm.
one brings an experience to it, an aura when you
Mhm.
go in there, and an energy,
Yeah.
um, or it provokes an energy, I suppose maybe is a better because I guess a space. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's a whole different discussion, but
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Like it's directing you towards a vibe, if you will, or like a feeling. But if it's just an empty
Yeah.
box, I don't know. It's a box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting because, we travel a lot, so we're always in different
Hmm.
spaces and
You're exposed to a
Airbnbs
lot.
and we're constantly, yeah, exposed and like taking it in. And I really enjoy like comfortable living spaces. And I like that feeling, that vibe when I walk in. And I didn't really have a pulse on the difference between places that have been like built with a designer involved versus
Hmm.
not before. And then I started interviewing people about it, and I'm like, oh, this is the difference. This is
Right.
the thing that makes a house feel good versus
Yeah.
not having it feel good.
Hmm. But you know what's funny is like, so this is actually goes back to that question about, I don't know if we asked this directly, but why I got into it, right? Why I'm
Yeah.
doing it. I did touch on it, but so have you ever seen The Matrix?
Mhm.
Where Neo's like, he's just the first Matrix, right? Like, and he's working at it. Oh shoot, touch my desk. He's working on his computer, right? He hates his life. He's just like, well,
Mhm.
but he knows there's something out there, right?
Mhm.
And then he gets Morpheus. They kidnap him. He gets to Morpheus, the red pill, the blue pill, right?
Mhm.
And and then eventually he gets to see the Matrix, right? And he learns that you know there's much more to that, aside from the fact that the world is all generated to live in. I'm just talking about the
Mhm.
part where there's a code. You can see the code, right?
Yeah.
The life isn't a mystery. If you It is in general, but there are things that you can know, and knowledge
Mhm.
is really amazing. So like you were saying, that experience where you're like, oh, so that was
Mhm.
intentional. Like, oh, so like someone's not just coming in here and just like doing stuff that they like. Like
Right.
there's thousands of years of processes behind this, right? And then
Mhm.
on top of that, there's people's emotions behind it and experiences behind it, and all the suppliers, and you just realize that the whole, like, oh my, like, so for me, I think I had a brain blast one day where I was just driving around, like even looking at sidewalk curbs. I'm like, how do they do that, Or like I
Yep.
look at like a little utility, you start noticing stuff like, why is there a green belt every 5 miles, in Arizona, or like
Mhm.
every mile even? Like there's more green belts than there is Starbucks. Like, why
Yeah.
is that? And I started asking those questions. That's kind of why I got into building, is because I wanted to know my environment. I wanted to know why,
Mhm.
because I was always thinking, like, I'm an outside the box thinker, and I was like, why are houses done this way? Why do we have roads
Yeah.
the way they are? And why, I asked why everything. And then you
Yep.
start to learn how it's built and why it's done that way, like the city permitting and planning, the design of it, like, and you start to connect everything because everything's connected, and you go, oh my God. Like,
Mhm.
because as an innovator, in order to innovate, you first have to understand what's there, right?
Totally.
And so I think for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years, I'm still going to be going on this process of learning, into my mid 40s probably. And then I think I'll be able to innovate. I really want to innovate this industry in some ways, but I'm still learning and understanding it. But yeah, design, I can't explain to people, and this is probably the difficult part when we talked about the marketplace,
Mhm.
um, getting clients to understand that, like, this isn't,
Yeah.
you're not just hiring someone to do something. Like, there's a
Mhm.
lot that could be that's in your project, but you don't know it yet. And probably the
Mhm.
majority of the people that you're looking to hire don't even know it either. And so you're just
Yep.
gonna get an outcome. You're gonna get some kind of outcome, and you might
Mhm.
like it, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where I think having a really experienced builder, but the key ingredient is that cares. And I think Jack touched
Mhm.
on that. Caring. We care, because
Yeah.
we love it. We love what we do, right? There's nothing better than finishing a project and seeing the end result, right? I don't know what I love better, the completion of a project or the process of it. I love both
Mhm.
massively. And a big project is just a bunch of little projects, right? All working together. But I could talk all day about how everything's connected in the world, and it goes outside of construction too, right? Like, but I feel like building and construction is a microcosm of life, 100%,
Yeah.
because you could take that into anything. But everywhere you go, there's a design, there's a theme, someone built something. So I just think building it's life. Like, there's everywhere you go, there's construction involved, for you to be there, for the most part, unless you're out in nature completely, then that's different. That's God,
Yeah.
and probably much better actually than man-made, but
The
um,
ultimate builder.
the ultimate builder, man. Yeah, that's
Yep.
for sure,
Mhm. Yeah, it really does affect every component of our existence here for the most part. I mean, at least 80-90% because of modern society and existing
hmm
within, cities and homes. And um, it actually has a, a very large effect on your affect as well. Like it impacts your mentality, your
Everything.
outlook, like
Health.
every health. Yes, exactly. Health for sure.
Yeah.
Um, my husband and I are super into like natural building and have gone really deep down the rabbit hole with that. We've
Mm.
actually built like a straw bale house. We were part of a project building a straw bale house, and like I'm really like plaster work and like ancient building
Oh,
techniques. But I like the modernization of ancient methods. So
yes.
that's something that is um, really piques my interest. And so I
hmm
love to hear about other people who are actually doing it, because that's not what I do. That's not my day to day. I just have an interest in it, but I
hmm
like to hear from other people who are actually in the world building, that they've got like innovation on the mind, and how it's going to affect people's health and wellness and mentality
Yeah.
going forward, because it's ripe for that right now. I think that we got really just unfortunate, really, really cheap in a lot of our
Especially in
building over the
Arizona.
years. Yeah, and
Especially in
it's
Arizona.
just like slap it together, and now it's basically a bunch of cardboard out in the world, and that's not that's not good.
Well, yeah, there's no soul in it, like
Yeah.
so I feel like, man, I can't believe I'd say this on the podcast, but like I have, I think the most divine thing that you can do, whatever you believe in, right?
Mhm.
I'm Christian, so like but I'm not ignorant of what all that could mean. Like there's energies, right? There's things like that, and then I haven't read the whole Bible, so I'm not, but I've been going to church since I was a kid, and but I do know energy is a real thing, right? And
Mhm.
you can call it God's will or whatever you want to call it. Other people call it different things, right? But there's energies, and I think uh, I think the most divine thing that you can do is create, and that's the most divine thing that you can do. So I think in that creation, like I was saying before, there needs to be love and care.
Mhm.
And if there's love and care in creation, it could be of a software, it could be of a new product, like a new coffee mug or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're making little daughter's making a little Father's Day letter for her dad on Father's Day, right? It could be
Mhm.
anything, but if there's love and care into it, that's what it's the human touch, right? And I think this is going to continue to be a thing as we move forward in technology with AI and things of that nature. As
Yep.
we start to let machines build for us and take care of us, it's going to happen. And potentially even the one thing that's going to that we value, especially as human beings, is that love and care, that spirit, right? That soul
Mhm.
and things. Um, and I think that's what has value. So as far as a marketplace over time, like when you go into a space like you're talking about using natural building materials, I think things like that, and modernizing it, all of that's great, and you can mix and match different themes and styles, and that's the most amazing thing, because you're taking that soul and spirit, and it could be one way of building and another type of architecture and another type of architecture, and fusing them together. But that's the human
Yep.
experience, right? Like that's what being a human is. I just hope that we humans value it. I wonder what does the AI value that soul and spirit? As time goes on, like this is a whole nother deal. But like
That is.
as long as we're around, it's going to have ton of value. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
But
Yep. I
I think that's what
agree.
makes spaces special, and that's where the box. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros. It doesn't have a soul.
No.
And there's nothing to connect with, right? So
Mhm.
smell, our sensory, our senses are what give us energy. It's funny, like you talk to a negative person, right? That
Mm-hmm.
negativity will drain you, right? You just feel,
Totally.
and it's an actually, like, I don't know if it's quantifiable, but something gets drained. It's your will,
Yeah.
there's some of these things, I don't know if you can measure it, but it's real. We all know it's real. Your
Yeah.
willingness to do something or to go do that thing you're going to do just goes away. And you're just like, oh my God, like, what is that? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I think
It's
space, so
your vitality.
there's a lot of supernatural stuff and like, things that like pseudoscience kind of stuff that like, isn't
Yeah.
mainstream, that is very real. And it's in
Mm-hmm.
religious text as well. But I think spaces and architecture and design and building accentuate that and bring that out, right? And I think that
Yes.
it's people don't place enough value on that. And that's where as the building industry continues to grow, especially after COVID, when people started to care what their property looks like more often,
Right.
especially their
Yep.
yards, their space. I think really that that was a revolution. I realized like there was a paradigm shift there in many different ways, but I think that's
Mm-hmm.
going to continue to be the case. And I would like to, like you said, I would like us to bring the soul and spirit into more spaces
Yeah.
over the dollar, if it's
Yep.
possible. But at the same time,
Totally.
you got to take care of your first need, which is a place to put your head at night
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
food in your belly.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And then you work up to some of the finer
right.
things.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
got to do what you got to do,
You
and you
you work your
develop
way
your
up.
taste and your values over time.
There's higher
Some people
levels of
don't value
enlightenment.
it.
So, you
Yeah.
nourish your spirit by eating
Yep.
and sleeping. And then the next step would be continuing that process by working, right? You're going to work and have a job or something, continue to nourish your spirit and your soul and that in the most basic way. And then if you can take care of that, it's like um, Jordan Peterson said, like make your bed. It's like the first thing, the
Yep.
12 rules for life or whatever it is. I
Oh
haven't read
yeah.
it, but I just love his message on it.
It's a good
And
book.
regardless
I
of what
like
other
it.
people think about Jordan Peterson or other people, I'm not getting into all that. But I think the
Yeah.
premise of it is a good premise. I don't care who you are.
Mhm.
Take care of your bedroom first, then you can move outside of
Yep.
that into your room and the people in it, your family. Then you can expand outside of that. But I
Yep.
definitely think building, architecture, design fall into that place 1,000%. It's a big part of the equation.
Yeah, it's part of the quest for betterment, excellence. I mean, some people are like on the pursuit of excellence in this lifetime, and you have to start somewhere, and sometimes that is with just making your bed. I mean, that was my case many years ago. I'm an ex heroin addict. I got sober when I was 19 years old,
Hmm.
and one of the
Well,
first things that I did was I started making my bed, and it
yeah,
sounded so silly and stupid, but I heard that and I was
check,
like,
done.
I was like, I need to build my confidence
Hmm.
some way. And like having integrity in the space that I was in was part of that building of
Yeah.
confidence. And it's like, oh, I can trust myself to take care of my surroundings. I can trust myself to, do this. And then you trust yourself into building skill
Hmm.
sets and like
Yeah.
how you navigate in the world. And so, yeah, it's just like a pursuit of, I think it's a pursuit of excellence
Hmm.
personally.
Yeah. No, and that yeah, you're attaining enlightenment as you go along, and and um
Mm-hmm.
and that small little win in the morning if you want to look at it from a sports
Yep.
perspective, it's a little win, and
Totally.
winning begets winning, and
Yep.
it's momentum, right? It's that little bit of momentum because you could start your day and you didn't make your bed, and then
Yep.
you woke up late and then you didn't have time to make your coffee, and then now you're tired, groggy, um, and you get to work and now you just feel like you haven't done anything and you have a big pile of paperwork on your desk or whatever type of
Yep.
work you do, and it's really discouraging and it starts to become the cycle of losing. You're constantly
Yeah.
um, failing at
Yep.
whatever task is in front of you, and in those moments, like I think even people who have it quote unquote figured out, no one ever does, but if you've got some things going for you, always be grateful for what you have.
Yep.
But there's also everyone gets in a slump. I don't care, and
Totally.
that's why I started working so hard. Is because obviously I was taught it when I was a kid, but I
Yep.
realized that when I'm doing nothing, because I was like in my teens, right, in my early 20s, like
Yeah.
I love doing nothing, like if I could, I would, back then. But I realized that I was the most depressed when I was being lazy. And then I
Totally.
realized that and then I also realized that like my back hurts, right? Like I would go work for 3 weeks straight, my back would hurt, right? I would sleep in for a week straight, my back would hurt. No matter what, there's gonna be some form of sadness in your life. No matter
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
you're gonna be happy at different points. So no matter what you do, there's gonna be pain and suffering. Laying on the bed
Yeah.
definitely not gonna make it better. And in fact, the only
No.
salvation that you have is to work, and don't
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be work. Like making your bed is work, right? But like it's not though, it's love for yourself, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
It
and the
is.
people around you, and that's where it gets into the environment. The making the bed is could be part of architecture in a way, like it's
Yeah.
that clean bed. It's just when you walk in there, it's just there's another level of organization in your environment, and it's taken care of, checked off the list, got that W. I preset the timer on the coffee machine before I went to bed.
Yep.
W. My clothes
Mm-hmm.
were laid out for the next day. W. I'm out the house in under 10 minutes. Dub. Get to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're ahead of
Totally.
schedule, so you beat traffic. W. You're in a
Mm-hmm.
good mood. Now you said hi to Bob and Jill or whatever, and you're in a good mood, so you put them in a good mood because they had a bad day, maybe now they're happy again. And it's just like you affect everything around you.
Does.
But I don't see a difference between
Yeah.
architecture and design. I really don't. It's the same
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
It has an impact. It has a spirit, wood and rock, and I don't know
Yeah.
if they have a spirit, but they have an energy and they have an
They
effect, like you
definitely do.
said.
100%. Yeah,
Hmm.
they've done like studies on it. Like
Yeah.
people feel better when they're in a house that has a lot of wood or a lot of clay. Like it's like
I heard that in the last
they
podcast with Jack. You said like a
yeah,
curvy or
a round
yeah.
home with more curves, people have less anxiety, and it
There's
makes
yeah.
sense to
There's a
me.
lot of research behind the shape of a circle, like
Yeah.
and how that affects energy and just cells even,
Yeah.
but and that makes sense. But yeah, there's a oh my God, there's a book that I don't believe like I don't I don't believe in a lot like half the stuff that's in there, but it's called is it the Life Source by uh, Alfred Hitchcock or something like that. I think it's called
Okay.
Life Source but it's about pseudoscience basically,
Okay.
and a little bit of the ancient Egypt and stuff like that. So again, some of that I'm
Yep.
kind of like, but I enjoyed listening to the pseudoscience that was done, and it's
Mhm.
interesting. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, everything has an aura and energy of whatever you want to call it, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Or
it
goodness.
does. And a lot of the pseudoscience is being proven
I just think
as
it's a different language. It's just
actual.
explaining the
Yeah,
same
it's a
stuff that,
different language.
yeah.
Exactly. And then like just quantum physics in general, like
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of things that are always being uncovered from that. And so
What kind of
yeah.
podcast is this again? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Well, it all
It's all
ties in
connected at the
together.
end of the
It
day.
all
Yeah.
ties in together. Like in making your bed, you feel better in your room when you make your bed. You feel
Mm-hmm.
better even though no one's necessarily watched you make the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You're going into the day with it. And you can also overlay that to the craft that you're putting in
Yeah.
to building and designing. There's going to be a lot of things. And this is why trust is so important in who you hire to do these things, because they are making a bunch of micro decisions every day that aren't
Mm-hmm.
being necessarily micromanaged. And you have to trust that they have the integrity to put that extra work in when no
Yeah.
one's watching,
100%.
so
Or ask
that you,
questions.
yes, totally. Yeah.
And
And
I always say wherever you go, there you are. So
yep,
your
that's the
your
truth.
your experience in life, it may not be 100% who you are and what you do, but it's definitely the biggest factor. Someone could
Mhm.
slap you across the face, or you could get hit by a car, or you could lose your job, or something terrible could happen to you. It's what you do about it. And wherever you go, there you are. So people are given different hands in life and dealt different experiences, but at the end of the day, there's one thing that you for sure can control, and that's you. And I think
Yep.
that's the message at the end of the day is I think you know when you've done what you can, like everything that
Yep,
you can, and there's peace with that,
totally.
regret is one of the most, that's one of the things that when I pass, um, that's the number one thing I don't want to have. I don't want to have regrets. So I try to live
Yes.
as peacefully and honestly as I can on a day-to-day basis. Um, and if I do that, then it'll compound over time and it'll reduce the amount of regrets that I have,
Yep. Yep.
because that's painful.
That's that is regret is painful, and the truth shall set you free. If
Yeah.
you're living in truth and you're living in light, then I think you're
hmm
gonna be okay.
That's why if you're a homeowner out there and you're looking to start on your casita project, pool or landscape, um, you should give OHPLC a call because you won't have any regrets. You'll make the
There
right
you
decision.
go.
Yep.
Love that.
hmm
Yes. Awesome. Well, that on that note, Scott, thanks for being on today.
hmm
Super appreciate your time and showing up on the OutWork'em podcast. I think you're our first uh,
Builder?
dual guest from the same
Oh, firm.
company.
Well,
So,
and that's what we're
like,
trying to do. We're trying to
yeah,
be voices. I'd love to have you have Oscar on, if you could.
yeah,
Yeah, like
totally.
I'm trying to, in the company right now, I'm trying to bring in high quality people. And a lot of times, I'm sure when you listen to Jack's story, and I do want to give a shout out real quick to
Yeah,
Jack and Oscar, and of course our CFO Kathy, but they are amazing people. They are very resilient, hardworking, just good, honest people. I've hired many people. I have had people steal from me, and over the years, many times over. It's hard to find good, honest people in this industry, and hardworking and talented and skilled. Like that's,
yeah,
and they both, those three people have all those talents, and so I'm very blessed to have them on our team, and I think that's why they're. Oscar would probably come onto the podcast for sure, but I
yeah. I
think
would love
that's why
that.
they're willing to speak is because they love it, they're truthful with it. Um, uh, but with that being said, that's cool. I love that we're the first one to do it, and maybe we'll be the first
Yeah.
one to have three on.
That'd be
Um,
great.
that'd be
I love
cool.
it. Hey, you
Yeah.
guys, this podcast is free right now, and
hmm
you get backlinks to your website, you get social media
Sure.
assets, you get cross promotion. And with the new update with Google, like I was talking about before, like they're going to be indexing uh, your social media now. So
hmm
that's going to add to your SEO for your website, and it's going to be
Right.
actually very very important. So um, OHPLC is ahead of the game already.
Woo. Name of
They're
it.
getting their third person on, and so while it's free,
While it's
come
hot.
on to the podcast while it's hot. Yes,
Yeah.
love that. All right, thank you
Perfect.
so much, Scott. I appreciate it, and we'll be in contact
Hey,
very soon, and we'll have Oscar
and
come on too.
awesome, fantastic. And Jana, do you want a clip for your podcast? Is there anything I can say? You can get a little clip at the end here,
Sure, yeah.
about Outwork 'em.
Yeah, please. Scott, how's it been on the OutWork'em podcast?
It's been fantastic. I think it's a unique experience, and I just love the ease of communicating with Jana and getting set up to get on the podcast. And I've had a fantastic time. Jana is very genuine. I think she's able to kind of talk about any topic, and I'm sure the rest of the team members on the podcast are super awesome as well. So if you guys are trying to get in the podcast game and get your voice heard out there and share some of your ideas and your thoughts, definitely get on the OutWork'em podcast. It's hot right now. There's availability, so don't miss it. And we're definitely going to be back on again soon.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I appreciate that. We're trying to get to 100 before the end of the year, so
Let's go.
we've got some ambitions.
Nice. Are you guys going to have like categories or what? Like, how's that? Like, because that's a lot of
Maybe we
people. That's
will.
or 100 podcasts, what you're saying.
100 podcasts before the
Nice.
end of the year. So we're at I think this is going to be we have some in the pipeline that are not published yet, but I think you might be the 30th person on the podcast so far. And we've got some more scheduled in the coming weeks. We need to do about 3 a week to get to 100 before the end of the year.
Nice.
So sometimes I like to set the bar a little bit high. But it's great. The conversations are amazing that we're having on this podcast, and we're in season 1. I'll probably end season 1 at 100 and then go into season 2, and then maybe we'll have a little bit more structure to the category of businesses that we keep on for each week. Like, maybe Monday we'll do builders, Tuesday we'll do plumbers, Wednesday we'll do HVAC,
And I don't think you have to.
something like that.
I don't think you have to either.
No.
No, it's just what's on, like it's just, I think as long as you're staying with, within kind of a somewhat of a demographic, which you are, I think you're fine.
Yeah. And sometimes we also will have sponsors on as well, like, or potential sponsors or power partners that aren't necessarily in the home service industry, but they have a business that caters to the home service industry's interests. So before we had on it's like a non-gambling, prize-winning, like, sports system. It was called Pool Party Gaming, and it's still in business, but essentially it works with local businesses, and if people are interested in sports, they can create pools in their business and then give away prizes. So it's a little bit of advertising, it's a little bit of community building with people and their patrons. So they have been one of our sponsors, and we had them on in the past. So every once in a while we'll go off brand for the right reason, but mostly it's people in the home service industry. It's like, that's what we're really trying to platform here.
As long as you're talking to people you're interested in, I think that's the main thing right there. So as long as, like I said, as long as you love it and you care, you'll be good. That's it.
Love it. All right. Well, thank you, Scott. Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah,
we'll
you
talk
too, Jana.
again soon, I'm sure.
We will. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.